Now may I invite Dr. Gerald Chen to deliver a speech. Dr. Chen, please.
I'd like to say a few words about why the Morningside Foundation decided to endow the Morningside College within the Chinese University of Hong Kong. We live in a day when all universities, at least major universities around the world, are engaged in an arms race to build up war chests so that they can excel in research. In fact, the research agenda of universities seems to have overshadowed all other missions of the university. I like the Morningside College to stand as a reminder that the most fundamental mission of the university is still to teach the young people. Indeed, long before the research university came into being, and that took place in the late 19th century, being pioneered by the German universities, universities have been in existence since the 11th century, and all the time teaching the young people that they could be of service to their community. I do believe that the undergraduate years represent the most formative years of a person's development. And therefore, for philanthropic dollars to be invested in higher education, I submit that investing in undergraduate education, one gets the most bang for the buck. At this age, the young people, their intellects are sufficiently developed that they can be receptacles of rich, diverse, challenging ideas, and yet they are still malleable enough that their intellect could be trained, could be shaped, could be formed. So there you have it. Our intention here is to have Morningside College stand as a reminder how important is undergraduate education to the mission of a university. Now, my brother alluded to this undifferentiated state of universities today. Let me put it this way. We have seen in the last half a century, since the end of the Second World War, a massification of higher education around the world. From the end of the Second World War, when perhaps, only a few % of high school graduates went on to university. Today, in developed nations, we have 50 or 60%, upwards of perhaps 60% going on to tertiary education. On one hand, I think it is good to have this massification because it provides access to more students. But we must also be cognizant that massification inevitably leads to homogenization. And I'm afraid homogenization, all too often, not towards a higher, but towards a lower common denominator. This is what my brother alluded to as the undifferentiated state of higher education today. I submit that certain aspects of higher education can never be mass-produced. Yes, indeed, it takes resources to carry out those aspects of education. Herein, I think, is the mission of the private sector to come in collaboration and in partnership with the public university, that together we can afford or we can provide a kind of education that befits this time and age and will best prepare our young people to be leaders in the future. There has always been this debate, again, in the last half a century, alongside this massification, of whether higher education should be vocational in nature, or perhaps in the more traditional sense, and perhaps some would condemn as elitist sense of this liberal tradition of education. I can understand from what Professor Lau told me that 85% of the students coming into CUHK, they are the first generation in their family to attend university. So I can understand that they must have a certain degree of angst, if not them, the parents, must have a certain degree of angst that their attending here for 4 years would equip them with immediately marketable job skills which hopefully will lead to job security or financial security. I in no way denigrate that, but I must say that if a university were to become a vocational school, that university has lost the meaning of its being a university. So we at Morningside College, we stand to defend this liberal tradition, and yet we do it in such a way of also taking care of the realism of the young people today and the future, very challenging future that they have to face. Herein, I think, is the beauty of this duality of a college existing within the larger context of a university. At the university level, the students can acquire whatever job skill they like by majoring in one of the areas of studies which lead them to acquire these job skills. But at the college level, we seek to perpetuate this tradition of liberal education. We will attend to the development of each and every student, and for this reason, we have designed the college to be small, that we will only have an intake of 75 students every year. So I do believe this duality of the college within the university is one way of resolving this perennial debate in higher education of whether it should be vocational or whether it should be liberal in nature. So what we're doing today here, we're not just groundbreaking for a new dormitory for the Chinese university because it's going from 3 to 4 years. If the Morningside College should become merely a dormitory, we would have failed our mission. We are here embarking, or perhaps continuing, an experiment of providing the kinds of education that befits today's challenging environment and to prepare our young people to be leaders in society for the future. I'm honored by all of you coming here today, but I hope your involvement in Morningside College will go beyond today and that you all would find some way to be involved with the college. We like to have many people, not necessarily from the academic world, but from the real world outside the ivory towers, to come and interact with the students. So we do need your support, and we welcome your participation, and we look forward with you and with your support. Together we can make a difference with some young people, and through them vicariously to make a difference to society at large. We look forward to the day that we will welcome our first class. That will be fall of 2010, with many young people coming from Hong Kong, coming from China, and coming from even the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen.